Hey. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dutlex Podcast. My name is Dymere Jones, and Ryan Michael Smith of Recharge is on the episode of this week. If you haven't been following the Recharge vlog where Gene Shirakubar and Ryan showcase how they started up the physiotherapy, CrossFit, mindfulness center, then you are missing out. Ryan is definitely a role model for us as he is a physio/strength coach, hybrid, and has been that for many years. He is also a former employee of Jimmy John's, and on this episode we learn a little too much about Jimmy John's, but that's okay. We learn about the many dirty jobs Ryan has had in the past and how they molded him into the great physiotherapist as you know him today. Ryan talks about the Recharge business plan and how they intend to change the landscape of healthcare and strength training. We also learn about Jared's and Tyler's first week of internship, and be warned for this episode, there are a lot of dirty jokes and sexual innuendos, and if you want to skip most of that, I will skip to the 18-minute mark. But of course, if you didn't want to hear our dirty jokes, you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast anyways. So enjoy the episode.
Man, that's a scary voice. It's like very ominous about the whole thing.
Hitting record.
Oh. How are you guys doing, by the way? I haven't talked to you guys in quite a while.
Yeah, me and Tyler, we're on our first week of internship over here. Trying to survive.
Nice. That's solid. How was the first week?
It's real life, man. I'm in home health, so I'm seeing a shit ton of different homes and a shit ton of different people and personalities, and it's really eye opening.
Yeah, dude. Home health is a whole different experience, I think, in general, which is solid. But yeah, especially first week, man. Oh, brings me back.
Like, real quick though, let just take us through like a quick story about like how it's almost like a scavenger hunt
of home health.
Home health. It's
the Wild West, man. I was telling Tyler, like, what was the most ridiculous thing that I've seen so far?
I mean, you got the cops called on you.
The cops got called on us.
What?
Yeah. So apparently some scared old people don't like it when a random car sits in front of their house for too long and people are just taking notes. So,
but just in general, like how you're telling me, like you get out of like one house and you're taking notes while she's like booking it, 90 on the interstate.
Yeah, like, my CI is a badass, man. So she drives me around everywhere. And yeah, she just, she might have a little bit of road rage, because she's got to get to all these houses and shit. But yeah, she does not fucking play on that road, man.
Like she's how much of a grind is that though? Like
she's hustling her fucking ass off, man. Yeah. Like, because she's scheduling patients. She's got to do research, and I mean, driving all across, from North Dawson to Georgetown, a bunch of different places, and I mean, I heard F-bombs were dropped immediately.
You're like eating lunch while you're driving, taking notes, eating lunch and driving.
She tossed me her tablet and Bluetooth keyboard. And it's like, this is how we're taking notes, buddy. Get your notes done in the car. I'm going to be booking 90 on the interstate. We got to go see Miss Johnson up in Georgetown. Like,
you're talking about like how it's like an adrenaline rush.
It is an adrenaline rush.
You like catch a lull and then you're like, back. All right, here we go. On to the next one.
On to the next one.
Dude, if you can't get excited about home health on that description alone, then I don't know what else you got to do.
Right.
My God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm signing a contract tomorrow for it. 2 quick points, Jared. One, are you able to even put your seatbelt on? And secondly, it seems like every location, like every place has a Georgetown. Like, everywhere has a Georgetown. Like, Savannah has a Georgetown. I came up here to Tennessee, is Georgetown. It's Georgetown everywhere.
It's a very colonial name, right?
Yeah, right.
It's very colonial. To your first point, there are no seatbelts in the car. So yeah, it's really
What's it, a school bus?
You should. I think you should probably get on that. Those are pretty essential.
Yeah, we're good. We
Especially
don't
if you're
need
going 90.
that.
It's like live or die for the PT. Like,
Yeah, how bad do you want it? Right?
Jesus.
I got to be able to get in and out of that car quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, there are seatbelts. That was a joke. There are seatbelts, but
Okay. So I thought you took some like athletic tape and just wrapped it around you in the chair and hope you stay.
yeah, we just use rock tape.
Yeah. Dude, kinesio tape works as a seatbelt.
It does. It does.
Right.
Dude, money.
I'd like to take this time to shout out to our sponsor, Rock Tape.
Oh, yeah.
It can be used as seatbelts. Thank you.
Are you carrying a kettlebell with you into those homes yet, or what?
yeah. We're bringing kettlebells and barbells, man.
Yeah.
You know,
As you should. Good.
no, I wish we were, man.
What do you take into the home?
So
Take bands?
she's got a. Well, first of all, this we need to get back to Ryan and Jimmy John's, but I will say
This is great. I'm loving this.
Yeah, so I'm armed with the tablet and Bluetooth for me to take. For me to take.
Guy at Best Buy.
Yeah, you know, we're very minimalist. You know, she's got the backpack with with the schedule and the notes, and you know, a basic goni and you know, blood pressure cuff and pulse ox. But yeah, so we're geared mostly towards balance and stuff. So we don't really need, you know, I'm doing Tanetti all day like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So it's straight up Tanetti, man.
Oh man. Time up and go.
I'm the Tanetti. Yeah, I'm the tug and Tanetti champion. But
man.
Tug champion actually sounds like something else though. So maybe
that does sound.
Yeah, you should probably hold off on that.
We're totally editing that part out.
Next masterminds meetup, we should do a mastermind Tanetti and Tug contest.
Yes.
After some beverages are induced.
we'll all tug each other.
Now we're getting too far. That escalated.
Jeez.
Jared always taking it. So, you know,
defacing the group.
Meanwhile, we're 5 minutes in. No one's going to take us seriously anymore after this podcast.
I don't think they took us seriously before.
Yeah,
you're right.
If that's your goal of being a podcaster, you take it seriously, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Especially when your name's Duck Legs. Okay, can we take a second to talk about frickin' Duck Legs podcast for a second?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh man.
But Tyler's the genius behind that.
No, that's all Jared.
Dude.
So we actually have an episode 0 where we talk about why it's called the Duck Legs. It's kind of got a couple.
On me.
Yeah, right.
No, it hasn't been released yet.
Yeah, no. Episode 0 hasn't been released.
Naturally.
So what we do is just lead people blindly down a path, and then a year later let them know why it's called Duck Legs. No. So there's a couple different reasons. But so my first thought, we're always talking about how like, hey, like it doesn't matter. Like we're looking for, it's that same like Tim Ferriss stuff. Like what is it underneath, right? It doesn't matter like what, like a person that can hustle and grind hard, you know. So I need to back up. First off, you do hear it on Greg Todd, right? With our intro.
Yeah, he is the intro. We do have him saying that famous "be like a duck" quote on our intro,
right?
Which is be like a duck, be calm on top of the surface, and then work like the devil underneath, like a duck, like the duck's legs is paddling.
He looks cool up top, but underneath he's working hard.
Yeah,
and then we kind of talked about like how it doesn't matter what somebody who's great, it doesn't matter what the front thing is on them, that like that's always going to be good. And it seems like so often like on YouTube or something, you just see that front part and you're like, yo, listen,
you just see the pretty face.
Yeah.
Ryan's pretty face, and you don't know what the gears are behind it.
Exactly. You got it. You're like, golly.
Yeah. What is he thinking right now? What is he, what does he wake up and think?
Yes.
Where does he go to sleep thinking about?
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's.
John's.
So trying to hit,
Jimmy John's. Actually, right now I'm like, damn, I ate way too much Jimmy John's. That's what my stomach. Oof.
Ooh.
Oh, Jimmy John's isn't in the plant-based diet.
It's not?
Probably not.
does
You
Jimmy
put that in
John's
my
have a
fitness pal?
rewards
Oh my
card?
God. They do not have a rewards card.
Come on, Jimmy John's.
All right, well, dude, why you need to get rewards for coming to shop for me? That's what I'm wondering. Why is everybody gonna have rewards cards now? Rewards for what? For purchasing my product?
That's
You got
true.
the product.
That's
Okay,
true.
I don't know. It's probably a good idea.
We're just fishing for sponsors, so leave it alone.
Yeah, Ryan, don't you mess up our Jimmy John's sponsor.
Right.
Dude, I wish I had a business that was able to sponsor me, but
Yeah.
Wait.
This episode of the Duck Legs Podcast.
Yep, there it is. Good grief.
Sponsors brought to you. This episode is brought to you by K-Tape, Jimmy John's, and Recharge.
No, we've
Jimmy
got
John's.
that. We've got that idea. That reminded me of that idea where we want to do like fake commercials.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like,
You should.
like I'm just like, this is by the tug team tugging each other till the
We gotta get over the tug concept, gentlemen. That's gonna be a long podcast.
I'm telling
Good
you.
grief.
I'm telling you. We're gonna follow this.
Yeah, those tug scores take on a whole new meaning now.
Hey, real quick, aren't they like timed everything? They're timed too, right?
Oh yeah, they're time.
They're timed.
How fast can you get it up from the chair? No, but you gotta get it up from a chair and walk 10 feet, right? So you gotta get it up from a chair and go walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we explain to everyone real quick what the tug test
No.
is?
I don't know.
I mean, for those
All right.
I
those
think it's
few
pretty
people,
self-explanatory, isn't it?
timed up and go, right? You get up from a chair, we walk 10 feet and get back. The quicker you do it, the better you do it, the better you. And Jared's making references
No, I'm
to
not.
other forms
I'm
of
sorry.
timed up and
Yeah.
getting it up. Okay.
I'm ruining Brian's podcast.
Yes, you are.
I'm
No,
ruining
dude. You need to
ruining
listen
your
to Mike Rowe's podcast when he talks with the dude who talks about masturbation. He says like masturbation 50 different ways on it.
Whoa.
I wish I could remember half of them, but it's hilarious. I mean, just unbelievable. I don't know what the guy actually does. I just know that there was like 50 different innuendos for masturbation.
I think I've heard that. I think I've heard
Unreal.
that actually.
That's awesome.
It's gold. It's gold.
So speaking of masturbation, what's your favorite Jimmy John's sandwich?
Dude, the number 9 with hot peppers. No mayo, extra cucumbers.
Hell yeah.
Where's confident?
Hell yeah.
Confident.
What is the number 9? What you got? What is it? Like the Black Forest?
Number 9's the number 9's the Italian nightclub.
Ooh.
Don't sell Black Forest cam at Jimmy John's. Are you kidding me? Yeah, look out, dude.
Yeah.
Good grief. Yeah.
How long did you work? I'm sorry.
Oh no, how long I worked there?
Yeah.
Oh geez, let's see. Probably like 2-3 years in undergrad, I think, somewhere around that time. I don't know exactly the exact, but it was at least 2 years.
How quick can you make a sandwich?
Dude, in my heyday,
Yeah.
I can make a Jimmy John's sandwich pretty fucking fast. I think we timed it. I think we timed it one day. It's under like 35 seconds, I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
Super quick.
That's good. Back to the quickness.
Yeah, quickest hands
Back
in
to
the
the
West.
This out.
This is awful.
Ryan sounds like this legendary like prodigy of Jimmy John's. That's like
Like the owner, the CEO's like, make me proud, son.
Dude, Jimmy John, like the actual dude, I guess, is like not legit. The dude like goes hunting for rare animals in Africa and like casually posts on Instagram and stuff like that or something.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what happens. You have money. Just go.
That is true.
Yeah, he likes hunting big game and shit.
Yeah, I forgot what that was a whole story about it. I forgot what it was. He killed something that he shouldn't have, but I don't know. Yeah. Don't go killing stuff you're not supposed to. Less than one of the podcast.
Boom.
Jeez. Unreal.
I think people.
Boom. Yeah, that's over. I think that's about it. That's all I got.
Man.
So, look, is there any sort of inside, like, scoop with the whole Jimmy John's working at Jimmy John's? It doesn't have to be anything to be like, I don't know what it is, but just something like, oh yeah, you'd never know it, but really, I don't know, anything that like from the insider,
like the turkey's really elephant meat.
Yeah.
Because things you shouldn't kill. Yeah. Insider stuff, man. It's a really well-oiled machine. I'm laughing at my description of Jimmy John's right now because it's like I'm defending it, or almost, which is weird because I haven't worked there in like 4 years, and I was an undergrad student just trying to make like a quick buck.
But it's still a part of you.
Yeah, I know. It's a brainwash or something. No, dude, it is one of the epitomes of efficiency. And like we talk about systems, so you can get you had Jerry Durham on. He probably mentioned the word systems at some point or something.
Yes, sir.
So you talk about systems, like it is to the T. Like every slice of meat is measured out to be within a certain gram and a half. So that's how you can make the sandwiches so fast because everything's already laid out in the morning, and then you just and then you're golden. It's unreal. But I will say the mayo comes in. It's like 2-gallon buckets, and yeah, man, it puts me off. It's put me off mayo ever since. That's why you heard number 9, no mayo.
He did say no mayo earlier.
It's a comeback.
I should have said no mayo when we were there in Texas because man, it was way too much.
You were really mad about that minutes.
I'm telling you, all over my mouth and whatnot.
Yeah, that was something to watch too. You were struggling with that, Sam.
Absolutely.
That was not impressive. There was nothing about that experience that I really wanted to. Oh man!
You know what? If we hadn't talked before then, and if I was like, "Look at me, eat my sandwich," and that tells you everything you need to know about me, I felt honestly, I did not impress the Jimmy John master. I need more training, sensei.
Before you knew I worked for him for a long time, I was sitting there just judging you slowly and how you were consuming your sandwich.
What a
just
rookie.
Like, look at this kid. Are you fucking kidding me? Unbelievable. Just mayo squirting out the side. Not even eating it correctly. Like, I just didn't even order it correctly. I tell you.
Eating with the damn chips.
Oh man!
It's like when you order that thing. When you're at like a coffee shop in New York City, and if you don't have your order right away, the line gets pissed off because you're not used to this thing.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like when you're ordering at a Jimmy John's thing. And you're not like, you got to say number 4, light lettuce, easy mayo, extra tomatoes. Keep the stuffing, keep the insides, and then you're good.
Right.
So you start like talking about sprouts and yada yada. My God, gluten allergy. Get out of here. Get out of my line.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of Jimmy John's. Geez, with your sprouts, man.
I'm sorry, man. I was used to Subway where you just order it and you tell them what you want, man. They were not playing with me. They were trying to like, hey, hurry up, come on, let's go. I got stuff I gotta do. Gotta make it sound for 20 seconds. I'm like,
I gotta move this mayonnaise, man.
I was like, they didn't even warm it up for me. I mean, in a cold Subway. He didn't ask what the bread I wanted.
Dude, that's right. That's why I was really judging you because they don't do warmed up stuff.
I was like, dude, what kind of stuff?
There's insider info. The only people that get like toasted subs at Jimmy John's are the employees.
There you go.
We just throw it in the oven. But for you peasant folk, nah. Sorry, y'all.
Wow.
Meanwhile, let's segue this into your current situation. I feel like Jimmy John's has taken up way too much of this.
I thought it was while we were talking about it. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about this? Just to stick on the side of both of them. What are some things that Jimmy John? What things Jimmy John's taught you that you are applying to your life now, and that you use to help further your career as early as it is? Just to ask a question.
Yeah, how long is it? How long are we in? 20 minutes in and we got a question. All right. We're good. Yeah. We're sitting. This is a physical therapy podcast, right? I think. No, we're good.
Yeah.
Dude, I was thinking about this. Actually, I've been thinking about this podcast ever since we met down in San Antonio, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And I think it made me look back at my entire employment history, really. Because I'm like, oh, shit, what did I learn from Jimmy John's that I'm now utilizing? At the time, you think it's just a way to make a cheap buck and get out before 10 o'clock so you can go to the bars afterwards, type thing in college. But I would say the level of I guess no shits I have anymore for people who don't work hard is really, really a good thing I learned. If you go into a Jimmy John's and you don't have a sense of urgency when you work, you just get lost within the fray of what a lunch rush is. So if you can never really get adjusted to that, you're only going to survive there for a couple of days, which is always funny to see newbies come in and just get destroyed in the first day or two. It truly is sink or swim, I think, at certain points. But so that, I guess, that level of urgency, but more so the overall theme of damn, what is the employment history that I had that has led me to where I'm at today, which is funny to think about. And I've had a shit ton of jobs too. And now it's a question I like to utilize for now that I'm one of the people on the other side of the interview process of doing hey, what's some jobs you've had in the past? Tell me about them. And I think it tells a lot about people for the most part. So, it's huge. Damar, what's some jobs you've had in the past?
I was just thinking about this. Before I ever had honestly, I would say the most exciting job I had was working fast food. I sold flyers. I've been one of those guys that when you pull up on the side of the road, that been like, "Hey, let me wash your car." Yeah, man. I had to make $2 after high school, man. I had to get after it. It's crazy because I recently, within the last year and a half, had just recently got a PTA job. My whole undergrad, I didn't have really a PT tech job. Most people are undergrad with me. Hey, I got PT tech job. I'm like, dude, I got a shift after this. I got to work fast food today. You know what I mean? I worked at Hibbett's for a while. But once I moved, that kind of I worked as a delivery driver. You talk about some reflection time. You sit in that car, listen to the same song 5 times. You're gonna turn it off and really think about some stuff. Seriously. So wow. You gotta really think about some things. So anyway, those are a few jobs I had and learned a lot from them. And I'm glad I had those jobs before I got the PT Tech job because, quite frankly, I feel like those taught me more as far as patience. Being a people person, being just willing to accept change and willing to have a boss. It's funny how in high school I thought I knew everything, and then somebody that's twice your age telling you what to do that's not your parent. It really humbles you really quick. So yeah, that's me. That's it.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I was listening to Mike Rowe on the Art of Charm podcast today. You guys heard that podcast before, yeah, with Jordan Harbinger. And Mike Rowe, it's funny, he's talking about dirty jobs, and he was asked the question of do you see it a success or a failure that people watch your show and tell your kids this is the reason you need a college education? And he's like, for one, the show is for entertainment, so I can't be upset about what the consumer is or is not expecting out of it. But he's like, for as many people who said that of this is why you need a college education, there was just as many people who would stop in and talk about how they appreciated somebody showing all these jobs that are out there and the opportunities that are out there for people to find jobs and become, apprenticeship and something other than things I've ever heard about. So nothing to do with like downgrading that type of work, but really using it as a way to be like, no, there's opportunity out there if you just look and work hard enough. And I'm like, damn, because I'd always used all my job history as like, well, this is why I kind of wanted to go to college, just because I didn't want to work in the cardboard factory that I was at for a summer, throwing boxes together and doing all that jazz, which is a whole story in itself. But
yeah.
So I just thought that was a great perspective to be like, oh, okay, I kind of feel like a dick now, but overall, this is a good lesson.
Yeah.
It definitely makes you appreciate what you're doing now even more sweeter, like for me, it was like, once I finally did get that tech job, it was like, I'm not giving this up, because I've seen where it was like on the other side of the aisle, and I love those jobs, but great point where it's being able to look at those other jobs and not like downgrading them or really appreciate what they do. Someone got to do a job, right? I have to do every job. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone has to work at Jimmy John's.
Somebody has to make a 35-second sub. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And only one man can do that.
And only one man can. Oh God. Someone's gonna find this and they'll be like, yeah, bullshit, he can make a 35-second sub. Or some Jimmy John's employee is gonna get all salty about it. Oh man, I
challenge Ryan.
Some disgruntled kid is gonna show up to recharge and be like, "Where's Ryan?"
I heard you was coming for me.
Oh God, that would be great. Do a throwdown at Jimmy John's. Oh
yeah.
Man, I'd be happy.
And then Gene has
awesome.
to judge. Gene has to watch the clock and be the ref.
Yeah, that's right. The wad of making sandwiches. Good grief.
Sandwich wad.
God. Dude, I will say the funniest thing about that, in terms of being able to be fast making sandwiches, there was always that point at like a lunch or a dinner rush where you'd have somebody on the line. So like the way Jimmy John's line is set up is you got a bread person, you got like a meat person, and then maybe a veggie person. So maybe 3 deep, but usually 2. And there's someone at the end of the line who's wrapping and tossing them out and calling them out, right? So the bread person has to be the fast because they have to cut the bread, take out the guts if it's a 1 through a 6. If not, they leave the guts in. They have to slather on the mayo and then send it on down to get with all the other stuff on it. So you could always tell if you had a guy who was just a little bit slow. You could find out where the bottleneck was in the line. And so it would be this really slow, like passive aggressive shift. If somebody was the bottleneck, somebody else would come up like to their left or right, and then they would just slowly get transitioned out back to doing dishes.
They just kind of find a way to.
Wow.
Because when you have that many orders, it's like, okay, this isn't really going to happen. So let's just take care of it.
It's like
or
nature.
you just become a decent,
Nature finding a way.
Natural selection.
Or you just do what I eventually learned to do as a manager, and you just tell people where to go.
Yeah,
and they respond pretty well if you're pretty legit about it. So
yeah,
like, son, you ain't built to cut out these bread guts.
Yeah. Get to the back, John. To the back, go. You out here barking out orders. You go to the bread. You go to this, John. To the back.
To the back. If you could please go do some dishes, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, I was John back when I used to make pizzas. Like I was so slow at making pizzas in a 10 restaurant. I used to come in at 5, right before dinner rush, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we need somebody to go ahead and sweep and mop the dough room." So you could do that, like so Office Space style.
Wow.
And so I was John. It was awful. I didn't realize it until a couple of years down the road. But yeah,
that was at a pizza place.
Yeah, I was a pizza cook for a long time, busboy and disher. It's like at 13 till I was like 18, I think.
Oh man, you really did work that long.
Dude.
Thought I was hard grinding. My first job wasn't until after high school. You've been working since you was a kid.
Yeah, right as they allowed your parents to sign off that little thing that said you could work a certain number of hours. And then did the whole the paperboy thing and lawn mowing business before that.
Nice.
So, which I didn't even think about until you guys brought this up, and I'm like, what a cool fucking story.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Now
then
I'm curious, like, what everybody did when they were younger.
it's not as entertaining as yours. And there was the fucking cardboard factory, right?
Yeah, that was the summer of my undergrad. There was a cardboard factory that was I think the word's corrugated cardboard, whatever.
And,
so
and
anyway,
that,
we would.
can
all
I
the
just say
boxes
that sounds like the most boring fucking place on the planet? A corrugated. It was bad enough, a cardboard factory. And then you say, oh, corrugated cardboard factory.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it. So all those boxes you see, someone's got to be able to. So you take like these giant sheets of cardboard and you load them in, and they go through a machine that cuts it out to the exact projections what it's supposed to be, and then comes out like this template. And then from that, you test it to make sure it folds into a box. If it does, good. You keep making a crap ton of them. So it was. It taught me to like be super. I could get through a whole day without thinking.
Yeah.
Like, it was really weird. I would go like 8 hours and kind of just think about my whatever I wanted to, and I would just kind of go like through the motions and then get faster at it slowly but surely, because you always had to be productive.
Mm-hmm.
So the days I thought went by really fast, but yeah, it was something else.
Have you ever heard that like they found out that increased money incentive like works for that type of job setting? But the second, like mundane, you don't have to think about anything. It's like, hey, I'll give you more money if you make 30 more boxes. You know, whoever makes the most boxes, you don't have to think about it. You just keep going. But like the second you have to like do a problem solving task, the more money to like incentivize you, the more it hinders you. It messes you.
Yeah.
It throws your psyche off.
I have heard that. Yeah, that, which is nuts, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
so cool. Unreal.
Meanwhile, we should all get paid $12 an hour then. I'm sorry.
Dude, some of the jobs that I got paid the least amount of money were the hardest jobs I had.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I don't want to say this too loud, but I feel like the more I'm getting paid for a job, the easier it is.
No, I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I worked at a barbecue sandwich place and I made nothing, right? I mean, actually I made decent money on top of tips, but you get minimum wage, but we got tips. Right. But it's like, that was some of the hardest grinding I've ever, like a lunch. I know what it's like to be, and some of the listeners probably hear, like being in the middle of a lunch and a dinner rush, like at a restaurant is just like, it's controlled chaos.
Yeah. The spot I worked at during the summer, I worked there for a year, but it was like right off the highway, and we were like the only like stop in like 50 miles, like either way. So these people haven't used the bathroom, they haven't ate anything like forever, right? It seems like forever for them, like maybe even 70 or 80 miles. Anyways, so they would get off. The line would be packed all summer, like from like the time we opened up at 10:30 in the morning, and I'm talking like tacos and stuff, like people want tacos. It was jam packed. So yeah, I definitely understand. Like oh man, it was horrible. It's horrible.
Let's get on recharge. Let's get on recharge.
How about
recharge?
How about we send another link, because we totally destroyed this link with
that. That is true. Let's save recharge talk for the next link if Ryan's down, because we have 40-minute recording time links, so we can send Ryan another one if he's down. But yeah, we got 5:30 minutes remaining. 5 minutes remaining on this link. Let's just keep it rolling with all right. With this job with Dirty Jobs, the Ryan Michael Smith edition.
You haven't told me your jobs though.
I'm nothing compared to you guys. I've done PT Tech. I've been a PT Tech for outpatient and for a hospital for an LTAC.
Get your old spoiled self out of here.
Yeah.
You spoiled, man. Get out of here.
Good grief.
Yeah. I've been a PT Tech, and I've been I worked at the LSU Cox Academic Center for Student Athletes.
Stop talking.
Undergrad.
Stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to make sure there was paper in this one printer and then I did homework, and I got paid for that. So
Talk about a cakewalk.
So I don't really know what you peasants go through. You filthy, dirty scumbags.
Jared, I will
man.
say this though. You grew up and this is not a shot at your town. You grew up in New Orleans, right?
New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure those are a little different living situations than me growing up in like a military town or like an 8-bedroom house. So don't worry. Yeah, I had it after. It doesn't matter. We both had hard knocks. Like 8-bedroom house. I mean, it's a totally different situation. So.
Here's the thing. Regardless of what job history you have is I would tell you, I would give you a mop bucket and a broom. And I would be like, all right, I need you to sweep and mop this area. And then I would completely judge you based on how well you did or did not sweep and mop that area. There's a fine way to do it. If you don't, man, I tell you, it's the little things. The little things.
Yeah.
That
should be a job interview requirement automatically for all the PTs you hire. But we'll talk about it next segment.
That's how you get a job at Recharge. You got to clean. You got to mop and clean to Ryan's taste.
No,
true.
Yeah, no lie. There's this job that I was going to get at a gym. And he was like, literally, you just sit there and all I want you to do is just clean everything and mop everything. I'm like, I can't really tell people any fitness advice or anything like that. Like, you're talking about sending me a search. Like, no, this is all I want you to do. Meanwhile, I didn't get hired at that job because I was like, man, forget you.
Yeah.
I can clean now. But I was like, dude, come on now. He was like, no, this is all I want you to do. I'm like, all right, Brock, chill out.
Brock.
Yeah, right. You're gonna work for Brock anyway. He didn't hire me. I still wanted the job, but that's not the point I was trying to make.
I hope Brock listens to this. I tell you that.
Me too, Brock.
Yeah.
I'm taking your job one day, Brock.
Yeah, Brock. Hey, fuck you. Hey, Brock, go fuck yourself. How about that?
We're not gonna be able to use part one at all. We got all kinds of innuendos. We'll send the next. We'll try over.
This is
you guys you guys did talk about tugging yourself for a good 10 minutes. I mean,
Let's give the listeners a recap in these 2 minutes we have left. Boom. Tugs.
Yes.
Tonetti's. Home Health. Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
Cardboard Factory.
Work ethic. 35-second sandwiches.
The Legend of Ryan. The Legend.
Oh, Christ.
Tug.
Tug.
That 40 minutes just happened. Yeah. Unreal.
You down for another?
Dude, I'm down for another. That was everything and more that I expected it to be. That was awesome.
Yep.
All right. Do you guys get that a lot or no?
I've never gotten in my life. Wait, what? They never say that.
The innuendos weren't over. They weren't over yet.
Yep.
Tyler, bring it back. Good God.
Oh my gosh.
This episode of the Duck Legs Podcast brought to you by Cardboard. Boom.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Cardboard.
Yeah,
We're sponsored by Cardboard. Cardboard. Do you need something to pack things in? Do you need something that roaches might eat? What about that time you have a new puppy?
Roaches eat cardboard?
I think they do.
I think they do.
I think it's rats.
Oh no. I didn't work at a cardboard factory though.
Yeah, what did you see, Ryan? What did you see?
We didn't see any cockroaches or rats. I'm pretty sure they only use that for bedding and shit. I don't think they actually eat the cardboard. They probably eat the glue inside of it, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Well, I have been fact checked.
Yeah. You quit spreading these alternative facts about cardboard out there. I'm freaking believable.
Fake news. I have my own agenda.
Duck Legs Podcast. Fake news.
Yep.
Right.
I'm trying to spread my cardboard cockroach propaganda.
Oh God. There it is. Good grief.
Just in now.
You got any more innuendos you want to get out of you?
Tyler, you got any more innuendos? Innuendos?
No, I'm done.
He says he's done. I'm sure they'll come up if they need.
Yep. I'm not going to lead off with one, so we're good.
Okay. So Ryan, I mean, I told you, me and Jameer, we've both mentioned that, you know, we see you as a role model and a hero out there in the world of physio. And I know briefly, we know your whole life story, for the most part, at least work life story. And you've made a big move from Ohio to Baltimore, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
To join this grassroots renegade rogue progressive organization, soon to be business, or already business, I'm sorry, Recharge, that will save us all.
That's the best description I've heard of it yet.
Right.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Yeah.
And there was, at one point, you were living out of your own car, right?
Well, living's a strong word. I'd say it's more of a storage unit that I'm using it as. Yeah. So it's actually still currently being used as a storage unit. So it works out well. But yes, all my belongings I have in my entire life fit in my car. So it works out pretty well.
And you don't need it. You don't need any more belongings than that.
No, I'm good. For the most part, I have okay, I take a step back. Like everything is still in my car. I'm living in an Airbnb right now, so I don't need a mattress or anything. And I'm moving into a new apartment next week. But I'm just going to have a mattress get shipped to my place. You know, like you can get like Casper's and a Tuft and Needles and all that crap shipped to your place now. So, but otherwise everything else, fits in I got my bike in there. It's pretty much just books, my bike, and some clothes. That's really it, to be honest.
Simple life.
Way too many books, man. Way too many books. But yeah.
Can you talk more about Casper so we can get a sponsorship from them?
There's like 6 different mattress companies. There's like 6 different mattress companies. You can find one that will sponsor you for sure.
Yes.
Really great.
So how did this all begin with the Recharge, the empire that will soon to be Recharged? If you don't mind, as much as you can get into that.
Oh yeah, no, we've been pretty transparent about everything so far, so it doesn't really kind of stop here by any means. But I'd say it all started for me. So for Gene and Ben are my business partners, Gene Chirakabat and Ben Fung. For them, it's been an ongoing process for a while, but for me, it didn't really kick in until about November, December. And Gene was getting ready to interview me for the Therapy Insiders podcast. And we put it on hold because we just started chatting about how I was doing with my private practice in Columbus. And he asked me some pretty simple questions that took me off guard because I was ready to talk like numbers and how I was going to succeed with this private practice and, you know, I was on top of the world, yada, yada, yada. And the first question he asked me was, "Are you happy?" And I didn't know how to respond, which was funny because I had felt that I put myself in a position that I was, you know, I had my own private practice. I was doing well. But when he asked me that, he's like, "Are you happy with where you're at with work right now?" And I'm like, you know, to be honest, I'm not in a way that what I want to have and what I envision to be able to do as a physical therapist, I'm not currently doing. And I think I'm falling back into the more traditional route, which I've never seen as the right way to go about getting health to people. Mm-hmm. So with that, he's like, all right, well, let's talk then. And he's like, I'm trying to get somebody out here for Recharge. I think you'd be a great fit for it. What's keeping you from doing that? And I'm like, well, you know, like Columbus, Ohio is great. I got stuff here. He's like, so tell me why Columbus? And then I told him why Columbus, and I realized I could have said that about literally any city. So he was like, okay, so what is holding you back from leaving that area then, if it's not the city? And really it was that I was scared that if I left or stopped my private practice, which was UMove, that it would be looked at as a failure. And that took me a couple days to wrap that around my head, that if I'm pivoting, if I'm doing something else, it doesn't mean that I failed at what I was doing. It just wasn't the right path for me. So it was a combination of the happy question and the realization that failure is only defined by what I make it, that kind of got me over to Recharge. And basically, so after Gene asked me that, he told me to sleep on it for a couple days. I did. I made my list of pros and cons and wrote a bunch. And that Friday, I'm like, I'm in. How do we do it? He's like, perfect. So he laid it out. I agreed, and I said I'd move there right after CSM. And sure enough, I packed up all my stuff in my car, drove it to his place, parked it in his driveway, and we flew from Baltimore to CSM. And I've been in this area ever since, kind of just looking for a place to stay and getting the business off the ground and hopefully open up early May. So that was a lot of me talking for way too long. But
wow.
Yeah, that's the that's the origin of it.
That's beautiful. That's epic, man.
The simplest questions will throw you off, which is funny. I literally, you should have seen the notes I had prepared for Therapy Insiders, because they crushed me on my initial interview about the private practice, because we were gonna do like a 1, 6, and 12-month follow-up.
Yeah.
And they asked me all these like stats business questions, and I'm like, I have literally no idea.
Wow.
So I had a sheet filled of what I had mapped out, what I had found in my first 6 months, and so I was ready to defend my business that way, without realizing that I was defending something I wasn't ultimately wholeheartedly into, which is funny to think about it that way, looking back on it. But yeah, man.
So where are you at in the process now? I know that, for me, I get to see the journey, but what about listeners? Where are you at in that process now? Do you all got the lease signed and all that stuff? So
yeah, lease is signed. We got a building. They've pretty much demoed. So it was all offices and stuff. So we've demoed out all the walls. And by we, I mean the hardworking individuals that actually do that I should be doing that. It should be based on my job history. But yeah, so that's all demoed. Now we're kind of rebuilding it to the way we want it to look like for a gym clinic combination. And we basically are recording every day on Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook, and being pretty transparent about the whole thing. So we're waiting for approval from CrossFit to be affiliated with them, but we anticipate that coming through here rather shortly. And then, yeah, man, just kind of hitting the ground running, hopefully early May.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. What's the layout going to be? I know that we talk about it a lot, but what is the overall business model going to entail?
Yeah, so it's an integrative health model, essentially. So that fancy terms being that it's going to be physical therapy, CrossFit, and mindfulness all in one, right? So there's going to be into a more broader perspective, there's going to be a body component or fitness. There's going to be a mind component or mindfulness, stress. And then there's going to be a health component. So your traditional like health measures, blood pressure, heart rate, cholesterol, all that jazz.
Right.
So our goal is to provide really skilled coaching and programming that any CrossFit gym would be able to have, but it's coming from physical therapists who kind of see a bigger picture, long-term vision. Right. And we can measure a lot of health variables on individuals from the get-go, and be able to track that over time, instead of we're just judging your health based on just your fitness and how much weight you're moving around. But we're also judging it in like, okay, what were your stress levels like when you first came in and had an interview and sat down with us? What was your cholesterol like? What was your blood pressure like? All these little things that we can kind of keep track of for people over time and be like, no, this is how we're keeping track of your health with everything that's going on right now. We have this ability to help you and guide you in a way that's going to give you the ability to prioritize your health in a way that works for your life. Right. And a lot of that is us making every barrier that would be put up in front of somebody to be able to get there, we're taking that down. So our location is built towards that. Our onboarding process is built towards that. Our abilities, if someone has injuries or previous health concerns, are all built for that. We can take care of all the things that make people pause and then ultimately say no and be like, no, we got that taken care of. The only willpower you have to give to us is show up and just have the right mindset for the workout for that day and be good. So that's kind of where we're at for it right now.
Cool. Yeah. Taking, moving just past the scale and the weight on the scale and looking at the whole holistic body. That's very cool. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Ryan, could you talk a little bit about mindfulness and how stress relates to your physical well-being, whether it be stress levels, inability to lose weight, everything like that, and pain as well?
Yeah, so huge question. I mean, overall, that could be taken multiple ways, but I guess I always start off with, and Gene and I like to point this out, that every time we bring this up, we expect a lot of pushback about the meditation and mindfulness aspect, and we haven't, which is funny because I think people are just a little bit more intimidated to ask what that entails. But really, out of all the things we're offering between nutrition, exercise, and mindfulness and meditation and that kind of psychological processes has the most research out of all three of those areas, which is funny. And it's been proven a ton that there's certain aspects of what you want to call mindfulness or something along those lines that are more Eastern medicine or Eastern traditional that has a lot of merit to it. Stress, for instance, there's this cool TED Talk, and I'm going to blank on the lady's name, but she talks about individuals will rate their stress levels, and then they get categorized into low, medium, and high stress. And then those same individuals within each of those groups will be asked, do you think stress is a good or a bad thing? Or like, what is your scale on a 1 to 10 of how you view stress as good or bad? And even the high stressed individuals, as long as they viewed their stress as like, stress isn't necessarily a bad thing, had way less risk factors for chronic disease down the line. And I'm butchering the exact outcomes that they measured. But overall, if they looked at their stress favorably, they had way better health outcomes down the road. I think they were actually looking at like myocardial infarctions and stuff like that. So it was no joke in terms of health risk factors. So basically from a really standard sense, I'll have to look it up and send it to you guys. But if you can help people get the right mindset about their health, you go way farther than anything. If you can have somebody go from, I can't eat this, I can't eat that because it's bad or good, and I shouldn't do this or that exercise because it's bad or good. And you just get, in general, most things have a place. It's just how we think about it and how you get to your day. It goes a long way. And then just giving the ability of somebody to be able to have some time built into a workout or into a session with us where they can attempt to, let thoughts come in and out for 5 minutes. If they can get to that point, they see some pretty drastic changes, I think. And again, the research on that is way more than I think a lot of the other stuff we have. I can go on about it, but yeah, that's what I would say my general answer to that would be. And then for pain, again, it's about the mindset that we're going into it. Like everybody in their lifetime is going to have pain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At some point you're going to get injured. At some point you're going to have pain. And if we're here for the long run for this community and tracking their health, we have to expect that at some point pain is going to pop up. So it's not a matter of we need to educate all these people on pain science really hard. We need to create an environment that talks about pain on a really, really basic level that allows them to feel like they have control. And from there, it's way easier to try to talk to somebody who ends up tweaking a knee or tweaking a shoulder after that than it is having somebody who's gone through the whole healthcare system and has gotten to you in a traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Jared yesterday. I wish you could have seen his face.
Wow.
I was talking to Jared yesterday. So right now I'm in the acute setting, right? And I was saying like, you can really almost, and this has no basis, but you can really almost determine someone's like entire health outcome within the first 10 seconds of walking into their hospital room and being like, how you doing today? Like, you want to get up and try to walk? Like that right there and alone, you can just be like, cause there's the people that are like, not good, and then there's this person that's like, yeah, I mean, I just had surgery yesterday, but I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And they just, it is too you see it immediately. It's very noticeable, and it's two completely different paths that they take.
Completely agree. And, you know, I think the overarching theme for what you're just talking about there, and I think all three categories that we're looking at Recharge, is the idea of awareness. And, you know, when we talk about body awareness, for instance, we think a lot of times that athletes have this innate body awareness, that there's all these people who have this really keen sense of awareness. But when you realize and actually get people to describe what their body feels like, or describe what it feels like to move in a certain way, most people have a really, really ambiguous sense of what that feels like in their own body. They have a difficult time describing it and really feeling sensations to what they actually are. So when they do have something pop up, they don't have the ability to convey that in any sort of way. So they kind of keep that sensation that they're having within themselves a little bit, because they can't express it in a movement. They can't express it in how they think about it. They can't express it in words. It's difficult. And there's a lot of research about trauma that looks at it that way, where trauma can manifest itself inside the body in a certain way because they've had experience that was very sensory, a very heightened sensory experience. So a lot of times they see that instead of just using like talk therapy with them, really having them get in some form of yoga or Rolfing or Feldenkrais or something like that can really, really help them get a better awareness and understanding of what their body is feeling emotionally, physically, all that jazz. So when we talk about nutrition, when we talk about moving, when we talk about stress and mindfulness, really it's just like, let's bring some awareness to how you interact with your environment and how you feel and sense things. From there, it's way easier to accept things that are going on in life, way easier to accept certain situations that you're in, because you understand yourself, your body, all that jazz. And it sounds like a bunch of in the clouds hippie mumbo jumbo, but I mean, realistically, it's getting a better understanding of what you are capable of or not capable of. Once you can accept where you're at, you can progress yourself, you can understand where you're going and find a way, the goal that you want to meet, etc. So that's kind of, I think, the overarching theme there is awareness.
Recharge sounds dope as fuck, man.
Meanwhile, filling out a job application.
Yeah, I mean, like you have that opportunity to do so much cool shit, you know, because you're more than just a CrossFit box. You're going to be more than just a therapy clinic. You're going to be the sum of both parts. I was trying to blend the two words, but it wasn't going to end well. CrossFit clinic.
Yeah.
And people love numbers. You know, they would love to say, hey, you know, maybe I haven't lost 10 pounds, but my blood pressure's gone down 10 points.
Or just, even the fact that you have somebody that comes into a gym and, you know, I'm going to get my ass beat on this WOD, but I'm also going to have an awesome place to cool down and to get some mindfulness training, and then actual healthcare too. Mm-hmm. Actual fucking, you know, legit healthcare. Not like, I got to go schedule a fucking doctor's appointment. Yeah. And then if you're in Texas, then I got to go see the doctor first and then go to the PT. It's how I was making, you know, wishful fingers. You have that all in one box. You know, it's like Walmart, but not shitty. You know, it's you know, it's Recharge.
I don't think Walmart's going to be your sponsor, dude.
We had Walmart set up, man.
No, I'm in talks with. No, we're going to get Target. It's going to be cool. But yeah, no, fuck both of them. Amazon. Hey, Jeff Bezos, what's up?
That is true.
We got drones, homie. But I'm sorry. I digress. So is Recharge going to get drones?
Dude, I tell you what we were thinking of though. Now this is kind of an exclusive sneak peek. So we're considering. Yeah, I know. We're going to try to get Snapchat spectacles. And have you heard of those before? They're kind of like Google Glasses, but better, right? So what we're going to do, because we eventually want the narrative to shift from Recharge to the people that comprise Recharge. Right. So these individual members we'll get one of them to have the Snapchat glasses on and do a whole workout with those puppies on. And you'll get to see it through Recharge's Snapchat of this person going through a workout from their first person point of view. And we'll have them like go into a mirror first. You can see the person is and everything. It's going to be, it's really going to be sweet. So, and then maybe drones. I don't know. We'll
drones. See. That's going to be dope as fuck, Ryan.
Dude. We're pretty jacked. A lot of it in Ben, man. They I'll tell you, it's to have people that think outside the box. Well, I guess literally and figuratively in consideration of fitness and CrossFit, but it's huge. Like when you start thinking not as a physical therapist about physical therapy problems, and you start thinking about fitness problems as not a fitness enthusiast, you can solve and do so many cool things. Like our location is not anything typical of what a gym would ever want, and we're going to make it work, and it's going to be better for it because we have an awesome location with all the businesses we're around. So it's just little stuff like that, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, when I saw that video, when y'all released it, I was like, oh, that must be Gene's house or some shit. It's like that's like a home. Right. And then I was like, oh, that must be where Ryan's living right now. It's some apartment complex. And then you go in, it's like it's a Recharge. And like, oh shit, this looks like some townhome somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, it's different. So which is good. I'll take different over the same every day.
Yeah. Man, that is exciting.
So you had mentioned this on, I forgot what other podcast you were on, but just your journey. I know that you talk about, Recharge now, but what are some steps that you did to get you prepared? Because I know you didn't just wake up, meet Gene, meet Ben, open up your own practice, this is something I want to do. So what are some continuing ed courses, some things you learned in PT school, if anything, they got to do with this subject?
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's. And,
dude, I was going to say, it all started at the Italian restaurant back in the day.
Right.
Have we not established this?
No. Okay. I'm talking about the actual number crunching, not the work ethic, but just the number crunching and just the things to get you in the business mindset. I know that you had mentioned a few of them on other podcasts. So outside Jimmy John's, works.
Yeah. Well, hard to get away from Jimmy John's in this question, but no, I will say in terms of where I'm at, both programming, coaching, business-wise, and everything, it's a accumulation of all the courses I've taken besides school. So a large part of that, I took the CrossFit Level 1 course. I've taken Ursa Religioso's course. I've taken a bunch of PRI courses. I've taken a lot of ICE Physio courses. Mike Eisenhardt's population health course was huge for me in my mindset. I took Paul Goff's business course. That was, I forget how many weeks long it was, but I took that right after I graduated school. Yeah, dude, I've taken Jerry Durham's business course. So, I've gotten exposure to a lot of these things, again, to just make me think a little bit differently. I wouldn't say it's maybe a better numbers guy or maybe a better way to organize that, but I bring a skill set and a mindset to the table that I think has an accumulation of all these different aspects of it. So, right. I can program and coach, and a lot of the coaching is from teaching group exercise classes and really getting comfortable with that. And that's where my strength is, I think, really in educating, teaching, coaching, and then developing, I think, individuals over the long run, which was my goal with Recharge. So, and if you hear me say that, none of that has to do with me treating natural patients, which I still say I'm a rather novice, I think, at treating patients. Like I'm trying to get better all the time. I can open up my own private practice. But if you compare like my thought process and my hands and my treatment skills to like something like Jeff or, a lot of EIM fellows, like I'm nowhere near what they're at. So I have to realize what my strengths and weaknesses are and acknowledge it and continue to grow that way. So all those courses, to answer your question, which is a really long way to get to it, my bad. All the courses I just mentioned, I think are accumulation of it. It's great. So some business, some really specific treatment skills, but then a lot of other ones that focused on fitness, such as the CrossFit stuff. I took a Westside Barbell course, and then my own training just in general of learning how to do that, and then a lot of reading about programming and exercise science, I think, were pretty huge.
Right.
I feel like personally, the business stuff is tough to do. You got to know about. You got to go to those courses. But like in terms of things that PTs or exercise guys should know about, guys or girls, that they probably don't. I feel like programming is super hard. And like, talk to me a little bit about Westside Barbell and programming. And I don't even know really what I'm looking for there, but I do know, I feel like everyone I talk to that's the big dogs, like Westside Barbell is the truth. Programming is tough, and things like, what are your opinions on that?
Yeah. So Westside is built on the conjugate system. Conjugate, fancy word for really just variability, right? What they do, works. Like, they consistently put out guys that are lifting thousands of pounds. Like, it's unbelievable. But again, for me, and this will be interesting. I'm excited to see what general population thinks of my programming in general. I've done programming for individuals, but never for a full group. I'm excited to see how it turns out for a larger portion of people. And yes, people are going to say that programming is extremely difficult. To me, I find it like it doesn't have to be. If you're programming, right, you need to do some fundamental things. You need to squat, you need to deadlift, you need to push and pull, and maybe get some bar work. Like, there's a whole plethora of things you can do to try to measure it. And you usually have to do it in a way that's gradually loaded, that improves people's skill and strength over time. So from that sense, I don't think it's that crazy of a concept to be in programming. I think it takes a lot of ability to, try some of the workouts out yourself, and coaching the programming into a class, I think is more difficult. But for me, the idea of, just getting people underweight, making it variable oftentimes, and never neglecting certain movements because you have a bias towards things or other, I think is the first step. But I guess a better way to describe it in my mindset of how I look at it is how we're going to program for recharge. And I stole this basically from Kenny Kane of CrossFit LA. He's got a great episode of Barbell Shrugged on the whole idea of what he references and what we're going to reference as 3 different types of days that you're going to have when you come to recharge. There's practice days, there's competition days, and there's mental toughness days. So on practice days, it's really what it sounds like. If you played any sport growing up, you had practice and you had games. Practice was never always all out, right? You were at a certain intensity level, but you were always below red line. You're always below 95%. So we're going to have 3 days a week, no matter what, be practice days, where you're coming in and it's intense, but not redlining. You're not pushing yourself to the brink. And then with that, you have a level of mental intensity and concentration that needs to really exceed on these days, that needs to really get ramped up. And this can coincide with more programming workouts that are more strength-based, more skill-based, that maybe aren't as cardiometabolic-based or anything along those lines. They aren't conditioning-based. And so you have those days, and then you have competition days where, as it sounds, the mindset going into the workout is going to be, how can I do this as fast as possible? How can I get this many reps? You have to have that idea in your head that this is a competition. I'm trying to beat somebody else, or I'm trying to beat my previous score. How can I do this efficiently, and how can I really push myself to get there? That's the goal, right, for competition days. So the programming workout for those days might have a less skill and strength work, but have more movements that are more conditioning based, because it's going to be time based, or maybe it's going to be shooting for more of a 3-rep max PR or something like that. And then mental toughness days, the way I've been describing them, is you find a really dark place inside of yourself, and you go there and you get this workout done no matter what. So days like that are going to be programmed where it's just going to be work. Like, you're going to have to find a way to dig deep to. And again, days like that are not going to be highly skilled technical movements. I'm not going to have someone push to a dark place and snatch 150 times.
Right.
But what I might do is have them drag a sled that's got 300 pounds on it while carrying 2 kettlebells down and back for like an EMOM, like every minute on the minute, until they can't like walk or something like that. Now, again, that's pushing the limits quite a bit, and I would, change the programming based on the population I have, but that's the general goal of the programming that I'm finding, that, man, we can do movements in a million different ways and program it in ways I think are generally safe and get the right adaptation but it's really the mindset going into the workouts that's the big difference maker for programming.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Man.
That's a lot of insight there.
Oh man.
A lot you can take from that.
That is
And again,
dope.
All that credit has to go to Kenny Kane, though. He developed that out at CrossFit LA. When I heard that, I'm like, this is how I want to program for the general population.
Hell yeah.
And I think that ability to change people's mindset like that is what's going to have them stay there for forever.
I'm hooked.
Now, again, if I have like a games athlete coming into me, I'm not going to have them program that way, right?
Yeah.
If they're trying to be competitive and go to the games, for one, I'm going to ask them to get programming probably from elsewhere and they can train at the gym. But
Yeah.
it's a different goal. Like my goal for the people coming to the gym we're going to have is to have healthy lives and just have a greater awareness of their health. And the way you do that is by creating a mindset of what is this workout for me today? Because if somebody comes in and tries to redline every day, they're not going to make it more than 3 or 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody can never turn their intensity up, they're never going to feel like they're getting anything out of it, and they're going to be gone in 3 months or 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to have some ability for them to understand how to turn up and how to turn down. And then that's a skill that translates to life. If you can be able to turn yourself up on certain days to get through a hard day where you have 3 kids and you have a job that's kicking your ass, and then have that same ability to turn down towards the end of the night when you need to, like, that's a life skill, man. And that's all the training and programming is for. So.
Yeah. Shout out to my CI on those roads, man. Turning it up, all the way up, man.
Dude, right? Dude, she is a saint. Bless her. She's taking you in, first of all, so she's doing something right.
Yeah, she's doing some charity work there.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It was awesome to see somebody with a filthier mouth than me, though. That was a blessing. But man,
awesome.
Recharge is sounding like the shit. I think it's such an easy way to see like how the community can get built up from a place like that. How you can have how the future members are gonna buy into this program and this lifestyle immediately, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what we're shooting for. So again, execution trumps everything we could ever say or envision. And that's the goal over the next 6-7 weeks, is to make sure we have systems in place that what we're talking about is truly how we execute it. So that's going to be the real challenge for the most part for me. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm hoping so. I really hope that this ends up being and I do believe wholeheartedly it is. I mean, I'm sure everybody says that about their business, but if I had to put I guess I am putting all my eggs in one basket. But it's something that I think could potentially change the way we look at how we deliver healthcare in communities. If this works here, the replication and the franchising of this just makes absolute sense, because then it can adapt to any community it's working on. But it's not like we're selling a certain product. That's what it is. No, it's a process and a system that brings awareness.
Yeah.
And anybody who we train up to do it can do that within a community and then adapt it to what their community needs the most. So
you're selling health. You're selling health and awareness, right?
I know. Yes. And who would have thought we ever to sell that? But
Right.
Yeah.
That's the best way to know. You put it. That's perfect. Yes. Exactly. Selling health.
This episode of the Duck Legs Podcast brought to you by Health and Wellness and Recharge and Selling Health and Awareness. So we got about like 5 minutes left on the podcast. Daimir, we have the epic question coming up in a little bit. I kind of want to save that for later. And if we can go into one last little topic real quick. Talk to me about white privilege, Ryan.
Oh, damn.
Cool. You give him 5 minutes to do this?
All right. Okay, I got what? I'll give you the 60-second version.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, you need to go read the book. I think it's called Between the World and Me, or Around the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Go read that book, and your whole scope of what you think privilege is changes, and racism is changing. white privilege to me in 30 seconds is more the fact that I grew up in a very non-diverse area without any ability to experience a lot of things. And I truly neglected the fact that there were inequalities and disparities among social and racial classes in this country. And until I was able to get out and experience much more than just read it, but have friends that had experienced it, I didn't realize the amount of privilege I have. And again, it's not to shame people who are white that they have this, but we need to understand that there's reasons there aren't international white days or international men's days. It's because from the beginning of time, realistically, since we've been in our court history, beginning of history, white men have had the ability to never have to go through certain obstacles that every other race and individual or gender has had to go through. And we really, really need to consider that. My best friend back home, when I finally read that book and I started describing what I was thinking of it, he's like, "Sir, you are woke." And from that day on, I'm like, yes, that's the way I'm going to describe it. So understanding white privilege is you being woke, because you realize that the worst outcome for me as a white male who's 25, if everything in my life fell apart, still is nowhere near what the same people have to go through. And I have a lot more leeway and that ability to fall apart than other races, other genders, etc. So there's my hot take on white privilege there for you.
Well said, sir.
Right.
Wow.
Powerful words. Good stuff.
We were able to cross all the gamuts from masturbation jokes to dirty jobs to the amazingness of recharge to get serious on the social issues, man. Ryan can do it all and make a sandwich under 30 seconds flat. Boom.
All right, he's got 2 minutes for the duck question.
Hit him with it, Daimir.
All right, the only reason why I'm still on this show is because I asked this question, right?
Okay.
Ryan, what is your favorite duck?
2 minutes.
What? Yeah. Wood duck.
Any duck. It can be a cartoon character. It can be an actual duck. We have to have those.
Oh, not like an actual type of duck?
No, it's up to you. Wood duck. It is up to you.
Oh, yeah, the wood duck. Like an actual, fictional character. And the wood duck is sweet.
Tell me about the wood duck. I'm not sure what the wood duck is.
So the wood duck has got if you saw it, it's got like kind of a green top to its head a little bit, and that's its defining feature. But it was the only species in undergrad that I could identify, even though I got it mixed up all the time. My friends back home make fun of me. But yeah, it's a species of perching duck that's found in North America. So that's that, I guess.
Shout out to the wood duck.
Shout out to the wood duck, man.
This episode of the Duck Legs Podcast has been brought to you by the wood duck.
The wood duck, dude.
That's not an innuendo, is it?
Why would we end on an innuendo? God.
Ryan, where can people find you and contact you and learn more about Recharge?
Oh, well, Recharge is on every social media platform. So follow Recharge on Facebook as Recharge. Follow it on Instagram as RechargeXFit. Follow it on Snapchat as RechargeXFit. And then as for me, follow me on Twitter as RyanSmith_DPT. And that is the social media presence.
Shout out to management of the clinical athlete. Boom.
Dude, you guys taking it or what? We got about we got a handful of spots left for this April 3rd cohort.
We need to look into that for sure. Them funds.
Oh my gosh, that episode was hilarious. We had such a great time. Thank you for listening to the episode. If you want more of our content, please go follow us on Facebook. Download this episode on iTunes. We're on Google Play. Go find us on all of our social media accounts at Dutlegs Podcast. And we have a surprise for you all here in the next coming weeks. I'm not going to tell you yet. You have to stay tuned for that. So again, thank you for listening to the episode with Ryan Michael Smith. We are logging off. Thank you.